Well, I always thought that church was for churched people. The problem was I grew up and went to church and didn't understand the story of Jesus. And so years later, I really felt a burden to start a church that people who hadn't been in church would understand the story of Jesus. Amy and I went out to California before we started the church to try to learn from some other churches, and we heard a guy give a message, and at the end, they played the song, "Come Just As You Are," and we watched probably 50 or so people come to Christ.
And Craig and I just could have pinched ourselves, looked at each other. We couldn't believe that these words of this song were exactly the very heart that we had for a new church.
Well, we prayed about starting a church, but honestly, we were nervous. We didn't want to leave where we were because we were comfortable, and truthfully, we were scared. We were driving home one night praying, God, you just have to show us, give us a sign. And lo and behold, the song on the radio that played was that very same song we heard, "Come Just As You Are." And we knew God was calling us to start a new church.
Our first building was really a godsend. Some friends of ours, they just offered their facility that they had that was a double garage that functioned for them as a little theater for kids. And we crammed this little studio with a mirror that Craig always said made it look like we had double the people, that encouraged his faith.
And it was so bad that it was actually great, because all we had was the presence of God. He said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Proverbs 8:35 says, whoever finds God finds life. Welcome to Life Church this morning for our first service. On the first weekend, it was so cold, a lot of people were wearing gloves and hats, but the warmth of the love of Christ was something I'll never forget. And when we invited people at the end of the first service to give their lives to Christ, 7 people surrendered their lives to Christ, and we knew we were onto something profoundly special. Miraculously, within a few weeks, we outgrew that little studio, and we moved into a little elementary school where we met in the cafeteria.
I remember driving up in my little Honda CRX with my keyboard sticking out the back to the elementary school. And I don't know, there's 80, 100 people in the church at this point. And man, it was just a bunch of on fire people that loved Jesus and that wanted to see his work accomplished. So we're meeting this elementary school. It's kind of just a ragtag group of people. We meet there for a few weeks, and all of a sudden we get kicked out. So we're scrambling. We're looking for a new place to be, and God provides us this bike factory.
And man, it was a dump of a place, a little bitty old building, nothing to look on and be like, wow, that's an amazing place by any means.
So we're moving in. I mean, we've got carpenters, painters, and a whole bunch of people just like myself that have no idea what we're doing. And man, we're fixing up this place. We're getting in there, we're painting, we're carpeting, we're doing all this stuff because we got to have church on Sunday.
We knocked out walls and blew out space and crowded as many people into that little bike factory. And I never will forget the energy, the passion, the lives that were being changed.
People just keep on coming and keep on coming, and we keep filling it up and keep filling it up. And God just continue to supply all of our needs. People are bringing people that need to hear about Jesus, and there's just this feel of excitement, of whatever it takes mentality to not just have church, but to be the church.
These people, they gave sacrificially and generously, and we were able to build our very first building in 1999.
And we thought we had built big enough and dreamed big enough for what God was going to do. And we moved in the first week. I can remember we were like, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? Because we built a building that we're already too big for.
We still needed more space. We still needed to do things different. We still needed to have tons of weekend worship services.
It was unbelievable. We were like, well, we can't build again right now. We can't get the financing to do that. We're stuck.
We didn't know what to do, and so we actually started a second location in a movie theater. People ate popcorn and they lined up to get in, and we saw so many people come to Christ in that movie theater.
I tell you one thing that was really cool though, is that same feeling of family and the same feeling of expecting God to do something amazing, that came with us.
When Amy gave birth to our fourth child, our first son, Sam, and it happened to be between a Saturday night and a Sunday morning.
We knew that Amy was really far along and the baby could come at any time. And even through the weeks before that, it was like every Friday, it's like, okay, let's just pray that she holds on until Monday. And I was really praying because back in those days, I would be the guy that would typically fill in for Craig. And so I was really praying, okay, Amy, just hang on.
We got that call in the middle of the night that Amy was in labor and that Craig wasn't going to be able to preach Sunday morning. And everybody's sitting around like, well, what do you do? Who's gonna preach? And we're like, we got the video. How about we just play that? And so, man, we played the video. And here's the crazy thing, is that nothing really changed. People still got saved. People's lives were still impacted because the same spirit that had Craig preach that live was evident in the tape. And then, man, people's lives were changed, and it was really a non-event.
And that opened up the idea, what if we use video teaching and multiple locations to not ask people to come to the church, but to take the church to them? And that's when God started doing an explosive work that none of us expected.
We could be in different cities, we could be in different neighborhoods, we could be in different countries, we could be, really just so many barriers were just eliminated.
Through great people, lots of prayer, and tons of generosity, we started to explore even going to new locations. God opened up doors all over Oklahoma, then into Texas, into Florida, into Tennessee, and into Albany, New York, and who knows where from here. One of the things that God did in our hearts that was so special is He really prompted us to live with a radical spirit of generosity.
As a church, what's really common is when you grow to a certain size, you have lots of other ministries that want to learn, from your church and learn things about how you do things. And what's real common is to take the resources, the graphics and the videos and the content that you're producing and package them up and sell it to those ministries.
I mean, I don't know, it seems like the normal thing to do at least is to, well, you set up a shop and you start selling your goods, right? And you got all these great materials, you can sell them out and make money on it and benefit the church and the kingdom, and it makes sense. But then God whispered an idea into our leadership's heart just about, what if you just gave this stuff away?
We started giving our resources away, and now we have tens of thousands of churches that use those resources. We decided to give the Bible away, and we've got millions and millions and millions of people around the world downloading our YouVersion Bible app. We decided to let other churches use our video teaching on the weekend, and now we're honored to have churches from countries around the world use our teaching every week as network churches.
It is just amazing to see how God does so much one step at a time. And I look back over the years and think, man, how did this get to where it is today? And it's almost hard, even though I've lived it, it's hard for me to go back and actually put all the puzzle pieces together. And that just is a clear indication to me that it's what God does. And it's not what we do that's really important. And there's no question, and shouldn't be no question in anybody's mind, that what's happening on LifeChurchOC.tv is truly a move of God. He cares about it, He protects it, and that is just really exciting to be a part of something so special.
People will often ask me, did you ever expect any of this? And the answer is no way. This is way more than I ever expected or imagined. I always tell them that we serve a God who can do exceedingly and abundantly more than we can ask, think, or imagine. And I'll never forget that very first weekend when I invited people to follow Christ and 7 people turned from their sins and turned toward Christ. And I looked at that little group of people and I said, can you guys imagine if this happened every week? 7 people coming to Christ. And now we're blown away to see hundreds and to see thousands meeting our Savior. Because we have a mission, we have a calling, we have a passion to lead people to become fully devoted followers of Christ.